These people are all there protesting an American attack sub doing maneuvers in their waters.
Which was you.
Which is us.
Yeah. Wow. That's the story I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that. Right.
That's the
arrested.
story.
We weren't arrested. We were
just
persuaded to go in. Oh, they were detained.
Detained.
So I'm going to build a Pro Street Amphibious milk tanker next.
Okay. And I'll be there to watch.
Hey, welcome to Car Guy Confessions, brought to you by ARP. I'm Jeff Smith. This is my car buddy Cam Benty and car builder Steve Strope, and we're going to tell you some stories.
All right, welcome to another episode of Car Guy Confessions with Jeff Smith. I'd like to make sure we mention our sponsors, our friends at arp-bolts.com. Couldn't do that stuff without them, right?
No.
And we are at the Grand National Roadster Show, so thanks to John Buck and our friend Kevin Doyle for letting us record here. This is we're on our special little cool studio.
Oh,
we have a
that's
very
special.
guest.
Yeah.
We have a very special guest. What was your name again?
I don't know, but do I need to move?
Rick Dobbertin, for those of you who don't know who this man is.
He's the placeholder for Rick Dobbertin.
That's right. So we got to cram a 2-hour show into a 1-hour show, and there's a lot to talk about.
That sounds
so
like work. I thought in my contract there was no work.
Jump right in.
Okay.
So what was the impetus? Well, first of all, the Nova was the first car that really put you on center stage. But was there a car? There was a car. There was several cars before that.
When I was in high school, I had a 427, 435 Corvette. So the fact that I'm a 17-year-old had one of those, and I'm still alive
you're still
today,
alive, exactly,
is something.
We've got to pause.
We have to pause.
We've got to tell these people because
yes.
I'm a nut job that grew up breathing, and sleeping Hot Rod magazine when your almightiness was at the helm. And I am familiar with Mr. Dobbertin,
no one else
if
does.
that's who he really is. That's who he says he is. But there's a lot of people who are into cars that like the nonsense we do, but may not know the greatness of Pro Street.
Okay.
And who indeed this man is and why we are interviewing him.
Right.
So this is Rick Dobbertin.
So we have to set the stage.
Yes, we do. I think we should.
And that's my fault because we've known each other for how long? Probably close to 40 years.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But
you're assuming
that's my fault.
They know.
Because that's
now,
right, because they don't.
Matt, hey. Yeah, everyone knows. And I'm saying that because he's right there.
He's right there.
And he's now getting escorted out. But
well, I appreciate that.
There was a time when the magazines were showing this form of build called Pro Street, kind of a loosey-goosey based off of a drag racing class called Pro Stock. And
maybe you've heard of it.
You've heard of it. Hopefully by now, if you're watching this and you're not mentally insane, well, you probably are if you're watching
the show, yes.
So big tires, wheelie bars, a lot of them had, blown motors through the hood, very, very aggressive. And, as a kid, I was enamored because it's one thing when it's a really cool muscle car. It's another thing when it's a Pro Street car. It's just blow your mind incredible. In the magazine pages, which, as I've said before here, small farm town kid, so it's like almost from another planet, right? And it's nothing you see where I'm growing up. And then you make the pilgrimage out to Canfield, Ohio, or Du Quoin, and you actually got to see them.
Springfield.
You see them in real life, which any of you know, a photograph helps, but it doesn't really fill out the whole thing. And when you're at a fairgrounds and these things are rolling by and you're smelling Cam 2 and VP and they're just
5,000 cars
and it's just this parade of unbelievable aggression.
Yeah.
They're very aggressive cars. So like anything, there are a handful of people that kind of rose to the top and were the guys that really kind of set the rules and broke them and raised the bars and kept impressing us. And, of course, the press like Jeff at Hot Rod and then Carcraft and Popular Hot Rodding focused in and zeroed on this. It was a phenomenon to a point.
Oh, yeah.
Really. It hadn't been seen before. And so of that percentage of people that really made an impact into that genre, that build style. It can be argued that this gentleman here was at the forefront of that, and especially doing stuff that was just out of this world. He brought a car here this weekend that was built how long ago? 40?
Well, yeah, one was in 80, finished in 82. The other was finished in 86.
Yeah, now I got to do math. Come on. How long ago was it?
The J2000 was 86. It was
Yep.
4 years after the Nova.
Yep.
Wow.
So almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And if you were here, or if you got to, luckily Hot Rod Magazine's going to be showing it again,
Yeah.
along with
I've
aforementioned
seen
Matt
the
Hay.
cover.
Yeah, it's
I've
gonna
seen
be
the cover.
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
You
involved
will
with
like
this
it.
issue
So
too.
you
I'm
like
doing
it.
artwork
Can we
drawings.
do a time payment plan so I can see it?
Sure. Yeah. That's fine.
This
but
is teasing you, right?
but the bottom line is this car is so. I showed somebody. He'll remain nameless.
Mm-hmm.
But I showed a friend of mine who is a top level builder off the microphone. I'll tell you, and you won't believe me.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know that car. Doesn't know anything about it. Never seen it before.
Really?
I took him down and said, "Well, you know Dobbertin's J2000." He's like, "No, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "What rock are you under?"
Yeah,
so
did
he
you live
wasn't.
in
He wasn't.
Australia?
He wasn't around at that time. No, it's
Okay.
more like was he on planet Pluto?
Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I took him over to last night at the party.
Okay.
And I walked him over to Matt's car and your car, and he was tripping out. He goes, "When was yours built? It's got fuel injection. They were doing that back then." I go, "They were breaking rules back then. There was no Holly EFI to buy."
Right.
And probably John Meany.
It was John Meany.
But,
That's exactly who it was.
But I ushered him over to your car, and he went, "Look," I'm not kidding. He goes,
Okay.
"What the hell?" And I explained, the stainless cage, and I gave him the basics on the tech on the motor. And they crawled around the back, and I told him the size of the tires, and he came up off his knees, and he went, "What the hell?" And I go, right? I go, "It's still mind bending." And this car is almost 40. I told him, I guess, like almost 40 years old. I go, and it's still stunning. It's still, if you build cars and work with your hands. No, well, we'll deflate your ego while you're on the way out. But
Thank you.
but
in advance.
it's okay. But it's interesting introducing people to it who hadn't seen it before.
That's true.
And
So
the
we're
age
making
of
some assumptions that may not have been
how long ago that car was built was completely irrelative.
Yeah.
It meant nothing. It was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
we have to
we're
back
gonna
up here a little bit
We're going to be
and-
showing pictures, I'm sure,
Yes.
of the cars
Yes.
we're talking about. But I wanted to give you a background that this guy really made a huge impact into this very specific marketplace, and to kids like me, because I was a kid at home. I had my little Craftsman 3-door little toolbox, and I'm out in my dad's barn, going, "Oh, someday I'm going to be cool," And to fast forward, and I mean this. I've said it in another interview, and but it's very humbling and almost intimidating. I've been doing this for 20 some years. I've been very fortunate to win a lot of major awards, and I've been in almost hundreds of magazines. And I can't tell you how much the 17-year-old me from Appalachian, New York, not the guy who owns Pure Vision, cannot believe a couple of my cars have been invited to be in the same building with Rick Dobbertin, Matt and Debbie Hay, Scott Sullivan, Mark Grimes, because I literally worship these people, and I was, they were the epitome of the cool things going on, and it's very trippy for me to go, "Oh yeah, I got a car down in Building 9, and one of them became actually very famous, and it doesn't matter to me at all. I'm still like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be in this, if I'm cool enough to be in this building, because when you're a kid, you're impressed with things, and that stays.
Yeah.
It stays with you. So it's actually almost nervous, believe it or not, as much of a loudmouth as you know I am. I'm almost nervous to be talking with you and to be talking with Matt, and these guys, because I was never cool enough to even talk to them, cool enough to talk to Sullivan. But I mean it. Thank you for being here and taking the time to talk.
When I gave you that $50 to say nice
right,
stuff,
yeah,
you went over the top.
yeah,
so
I did. Well, I tried to deliver.
And then when you said you worship me, I'll pass the plate down there.
Right.
So let's just jump into
I am humbled.
So that's Rick Dobbertin.
Yeah.
And we're going to show photos of the cars and all the rest and that whole thing. But I it's really cool. So now you guys can go do some research.
Uh-huh.
My mother doesn't like me that much.
Right. I think the accolades should be
Let's jump
there.
into the Nova. So what was the idea? Because that was a compound supercharged engine.
Right.
It was two
was
turbos feeding into a blower.
Yeah, it's a two-stage, so the turbos will compress it and then send it up to the blower already compressed, and it'll do it again. It's just like a two-stage air compressor. You buy it.
Right. And was that the idea behind it? Initially?
Well, no, the initial. I had a speed shop, and I had these T-shirts made, which I didn't bring.
Okay.
And it said turbodynamics. Well, the front of it said best blown jobs in town. And on the back it said,
Well,
and every mother in town was
good night,
like,
kids. Thank you.
on the back it said Turbodynamics, which was the name of the company, and it said superchargers, turbochargers. And when I got the shirt, we had hanging up there to sell them, and I thought, I had to put turbos and superchargers on the same vehicle.
Yeah.
It might have been done many times. I've never seen one.
Uh-huh.
And I know there's stuff out there that I tell you, a lot of the car was being at the right place at the right time, because if I brought it out today, I mean, with the stuff that's out there, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at all.
No, your car's still pretty impressive.
Well,
trust me. It's
thanks.
It's
So the first
still
year was
pretty
82,
nutso.
right?
Another 5.
So 82.
Daddy needs some new shoes.
That would have been, was that Springfield?
Yeah, Springfield.
Yeah.
The thing that always bothered me about Springfield, it was that they had Pro Street. It was for 67, I believe, and up.
Yeah.
Or it was 67, and newer.
Yeah.
And mine was a 65. And I drove the car down to the entrance of the Pro Street area to get, because it was a popular vote. I figured people are going to be coming through there. If they like the car, they'll see it. And then they changed the rule to 1965 so I could participate. And it was the guy said, no, 65's fine. And I thought, and it's bothered me. And we won. We got first place in the Pro Street thing. Yeah. But there was somebody out there that should have got it that had a 67 or newer car. Well, yeah, I know. It happened. I've had stuff.
I think that was probably an arbitrary number anyway, really. Well, because it was first year for the Camaro, they figured, that's what everybody's going to build.
Oh.
But,
maybe.
So I think as soon as they saw your car, it's like, well, think about this. They did not want to have your car in there. That was what that was really about.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
it just, and then that just set everybody on their ear, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about their hearing.
And that car's here also.
And that car is here, definitely.
Oh, the Nova?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then right after that, then you figured you had to top yourself, right?
Yeah, well, there were things, how you get through a build. I always like to plan your build and then build your plan, that kind of thing. Yeah, right, people do that.
I don't do that.
Huh? Yeah, but there were things, during the thing. Oh, if I did another one, I'd do this. If I did another one,
sure.
So then I made a list of everything that made a Pro Street car Pro Street, which is the big tires, the big engine, something sticking out of the hood, the roll cage, the wheelie bars, all that stuff. And then I thought what I'd do is I'd stuff it in the smallest car I could find that I could deal. I was going to do a Vega, and I thought, not a Vega. What's a little Chevette?
A Chevette,
and
which
then
is even shorter.
it was like.
Yeah. It's just an ugly
One
car.
guy did that. Jody.
Still in it.
Jody, the yellow one.
They're
Remember?
cool. They're cool cars.
Yeah.
But it'd been done before.
Right.
And all that stuff. Nobody's done a J2000.
Yeah.
Nobody even knew what it was. I call it a Sunbird.
Yeah.
And sorry. And
probably deals meth. Yeah.
I didn't know what you were doing there. I'm sorry. So now they are affixed to my pants.
We can just tape them down if you want.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go
I even was
now.
told that. Well, listening to what I'm told is not always.
So from the beginning, it was a stainless steel chassis?
Yeah, well, one of the things was I listed everything. And the
Wow.
and I listed everything. And one of the things with the frame was, to do this, and then tires, try to get them really short. I got a good axle story if you want to hear it in a minute.
Yeah.
But
we're good on axle stories.
I did. Just everything that, the 2 turbos and the blower. And people used to make jokes with the Nova. They'd say, you got 2 turbos, how come there's only 1 blower? And I thought, I got you this time. You just wait.
We can fix that.
Yeah, right. But, with the axles, I had a speed shop, and I called Strange Engineering for some guy who wanted some, 26-inch axles for a Camaro or something. I wanted to get a price on it and stuff, and then Strange is there, and I said, hey, while I got you here, could you do like an 11-inch axle? Like 11, 12-inch, something like that. And they said, yeah, we can do whatever you want. And I said, oh, cool. Okay, well, I'll order those axles. And he forgot about the 28-inch ones. And about 3 weeks later, I get this little box from Strange, and I knew immediately what it was. It was like, no way. So I took them out, looked at them, and thought, so I called the guy back, and I said, hey, remember we had this conversation? And I said, I was asking you about this for the future. And he goes, what'd they do? And I said, they sent me the 12-inch or 11-inch ones. Yeah. Oh, crap. Send them back. We'll get these other ones out tomorrow, So then this was like a year before, I had everything planned, ready to go.
Okay.
And so I called Strange. I said, I need to order some 11 or 12-inch axles. The guy goes, hang on a minute, you might be in luck. He goes, we got some here. I have no idea why. And I thought, well, those are...
Oh, no, wait. That was somebody else.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
You got your own used axles?
Yeah, no, they've never been in anything. I put them in a shoebox just to do it,
Yeah, that's cool.
And but that was pretty funny. I've told them that since then, and they're still hunting me down. But
I remember you sending me a photo of you after you'd polished the frame.
Oh, I'm going.
Yeah. That was like you were from an alien world, because you did that for 14 or 18 hours straight, something like that.
Oh no, we did 18 days.
18 days.
I had a guy that was an expert polisher, and he had this machine, and it'd pick it up. It was like a 50 millimeter, whatever, and it was an old Black & Decker, and. He set it on the ground. He said, that thing will polish. He said, wait till you hear this thing. And he goes and plugs it in. Well, he had the switch on. And it had 100 feet of cord. And it went, and it banged on the frame a bunch of times. And it went all over the garage, and we had to jump over it. And he goes, well, it's kind of like that. So
minus all the death.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just forget the death,
well,
and that's good.
Everybody comments about the welds, how they're finished and everything. I'm not the best welder in the world, so when I get these things, and I am OC, I want everything just right if I can do it. And I'd get the welds, and then I'd stop, and it amazes me where these guys can pick up on that and keep the exact thing.
Yeah.
And then you got to go underneath, and then you got to go up, and then you got to go around.
The top. Yeah.
And I thought, wait a minute, if I polish these, so they grind them a little bit. If I run 3 beads around, spread them out, and then the last one's just a like this with the wand, and then you can polish them out. I get credit for something, and the reason I did that at first was because the welds didn't look right to me. And you got everything polished, and you get down to the things.
Yeah.
So I'd do one, and think, there's only 3 hours to do this one. What's the big deal? And then you start looking at the frame and go, what am I thinking?
There's 2,000.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Oh, so you did have a moment of clarity.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to say, at one point, I figured out I was nuts.
Yeah.
And
because a lot of people, because the car was so over the top, a lot of people didn't really appreciate it. And all they did was criticize it. And I always told people, I said, dude, I don't care if you like it or not, but tell me that you can't appreciate the effort that went into the
the
car.
workload in
That's the point.
Oh, yeah.
That's the point. Aesthetically, you may like it or not, and that's a different discussion. But tell me, if you work on cars and you look at this thing for more than 5 minutes, if it doesn't blow you away,
that
then
was
there's
my
something
conversation last night with the undisclosed builder.
Okay.
I was like, can you imagine how much work if
Into
somebody
this
ordered this car?
Yeah.
And he went, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I said,
Hello?
you're right.
Hello?
I don't want to do that either. So don't call me.
Yeah,
That's not happening. Want to build another one? Yeah, you're on your own.
And you didn't have this big professional shop with 30
No.
people working. You built the car yourself. right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I did not do the interior, and I didn't do the paint.
Okay.
But
other than that,
yeah, pretty much.
you engineered and assembled the whole car. Then there's another anecdotal story about you brought it to the first. What was the first year? 86.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they wouldn't let you in Pro Street competition because.
Oh, I didn't have suspension in it.
Yeah.
I didn't have suspension in the back.
In the rear.
In the rear. With the
You
there's
got enough
only
tire, hell, it's bouncing all
Well,
over
because
the
there's only
place.
this much
Anyway.
room between
yeah,
the
there
tires,
was.
right?
You couldn't. It was 8 1/4 inches, so that means that 8.5 by 11 piece of paper would hit the tire bulges. You couldn't put it between them.
For those of you at home not following around,
So
inside tire bulge to inside tire bulge on most cars are like feet apart from each other. How many inches?
8 1/4.
8 1/4 inches before the tires touched each other.
Not a lot of room for everything else.
Hopefully we got a photo of that we can put up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
There you go. One giant piece of rock
it wouldn't
across
let you
the
in.
bag.
Wouldn't let you in because it didn't have a rear suspension.
Well, they did let me in.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you then went home.
No, but they put me in that year, and I was just I was. It's based on a point thing.
Okay, so they
And
let you in.
Matt beat me that
Okay,
year
yeah.
with this.
That
with
bastard.
The
I mean,
The Sierra.
yeah, the Sierra.
Olds. Yeah.
And at first it was like, oh no, I can't say that on the radio.
it's not radio.
Oh, it's not radio.
So it's okay.
Go ahead. We can
so
bleep
then you
out your
came back.
horrific swearing tirade.
I
you
came
came-
back.
you
So
came back.
what I wanted to do, I called the guys that had disqualified it, and at first when I got the rules, I said it's probably going to be a solid mount. I said no solid axles, and I said so I can't do it. And the guy says, well, you won't get any points for the suspension and stuff like that, but you
Okay.
can still enter it. So maybe that's what happened. It just knocked 10 points off.
Right.
So I lost it now.
The springs.
Oh, the spring. So
Now, I
I
got
get
a question.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with the springs.
Okay.
I want to back up. We've got is it based off of like a Ford 9-inch rear axle?
Dana
Super
60.
narrow.
Dana
but-
60.
Oh, it's a Dana 60.
They had to
Okay.
cut the actual housing down too for the axle.
No,
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So now you've got your Dana 60 sitting in there, right? And cute little arms coming out
Right.
to where your axles go in,
Yeah.
right? And how is that, before the springs, how is that attached to the frame? Like just some saddles with bolts going up into the frame rails?
It's got an X piece coming up off the back of the There's one off the snubber area that bolts up,
Right.
and then in the back there's this cross piece comes up with a plate and it bolts up to the
Rear part of the chassis.
Yeah.
right up to the frame. So when I called them and I said so. I kind of played a little stupid, which is not hard for me to do. But I called this guy up and I said, I want to put springs in this. Can I use leaf spring? That kind of got him off. Or coil or whatever. And the guy goes, no, you can use either one. And I said, now if I want to go coil springs, do they have to be a certain size? And the guy said,
Like 5.5 inches in diameter.
yeah, right. And I said, the guy goes, no, any size you want. I said, any size, seriously, any size? And he goes, yeah, if it's a coil spring, it's a coil spring. And I thought, okay. So I got these 6 little springs and stuck them in there. And I did not like the way it rode because now you got a little bit of tip.
Okay.
And before it was nice if you brought the tire pressure down to like 4.5 pounds, 5 pounds. You had a nice
4.5
ride.
pounds?
Yeah, but
Wow.
the tire
Was
perfectly
huge.
round.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
Firestone made these tires. They put 2 4-inch sections or 3 or 4-inch sections to make them wide on one off. They made 4 of the tires, and so yeah. So
you ended up with coil springs.
I ended up with coil
Engine
springs,
coil springs,
and I put
as
2
it
shock
was-
absorbers up.
Are
to the
they
thing.
indeed valve springs?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And how many of them suspending the car in the
6.
back? 6
And
valve springs.
I got
Because they didn't specify.
I wish
how
I was
much
a judge so I
suspension
could
travel
go,
you had to have.
you got to be shitting me, really?
Yeah, it pissed a couple people.
You really got to be shitting
A couple
me.
people were
Yeah, but the whole rest of the event, there were people on the ground underneath looking and laughing. So that was
yeah. So
fun.
That's awesome.
So then
thanks.
after the J2000, then what happened after that? You took a front wheel drive car and put fat tires in the back with a front wheel drive car. I
yeah.
remember
It
that
was
little car. What was
It
Grand
was
Am.
blue.
A Grand Am.
We
yeah.
did
Blue?
well. There were so many people
Am I
talking
right?
about how
Was it blue?
No, white.
It was white. Yeah.
Talking
white?
about how much it cost to build a Pro Street car or anything that looked, the money. And I said, well, why don't we just take we put the full back half of the frame, and then just cut because it was a solid, what is it, an angle or something on those. Yeah. We just cut a section out, got it to the right width, clamped that on, and welded it back together. I thought, that should work, right? Yeah. It did. Then I drove it to, I got a picture with a Hollywood sign and another one with the Statue of Liberty or something. So we drove across country. The only time I screwed up was when I saw this eddy in a field, a little windstorm. Okay. And I'd never seen those before,
Hey, we'd like to thank our sponsor, ARP-bolts.com. We got a fantastic little backdrop here. They make an outstanding series of bolts, almost anything you would need for engines, chassis, things like that. In fact, we were at lunch today, and a guy asked you about the bolt on the back of your shirt, and and I said, well, it's really about a head bolt. They neck the stem down of the bolt on a small block Chevy head bolt, so the clamp load is even across 3 different head bolt lengths on a small block Chevy. And, so that's the kind of technology that you get out of ARP. And we've all got stories on all that stuff.
For a translation of what he said, call ARPbolts.com.
but the message is that you can't get any better than that.
No, you cannot.
There you go.
Nope.
Excellent.
And then just check them out at ARP-bolts.com. We'd like to thank our friends at InTheGarageMedia.com. They have 3 fantastic magazines. They've got Classic Truck Performance, they have Modern Rotting, and my favorite, All Chevy Performance with Nick, my buddy Nick, who's the editor.
Biased.
So
Correct.
yes, of course.
Yes.
But they're doing print media, which is of course our favorite. So
In color and
magazine.
everything.
in color and everything, and you can get your car on the cover of one of those books, which is a fun
that's a
deal.
lot.
Great tech.
Great
Written
tech.
by you
know,
and others
not always
that are
written by me, but yeah.
Not always written by me.
That's right.
Just
So
pick it
check
up and
them out
read it.
at InTheGarageMedia.com, and they're our friends, and they will thank you.
oh no, duct tape my hands to the table. Okay, how about back behind?
Right here.
Yeah,
right here.
Right, and then I can go, I swear to God.
It wasn't me. It wasn't
You
me.
know, we can just use zip ties. They do that with law
Oh,
enforcement.
that's right.
You have been warned.
Okay. So what? Oh, man.
You're
So,
going to screw him up. He's going to think about that.
so what were we talking about?
Your pro street car.
Oh, that's right. So so I did that, and I got so many people saying,
No. The Eddie out in the field.
Eddie.
"Oh, Eddie." So I'm looking.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
I'm just going down the road, and I see this thing, and it's so cool looking, and it's like a tornado starting out.
Yeah, that looks like something I want to go inspect. Yeah.
Well, no, it was way out in the field.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Going
Good.
this
Keep
way
it out there.
and that way and this way and that way and this way. So it came right up this side of the road, and it was pretty big. It was maybe not the diameter of this room,
That's
but it
already
was
something
pretty
like
big.
a bad idea. Yeah. Okay.
And I was leaning on the door with the door open, and it took like 3 shovels full of dirt and just threw it on the dashboard of the.
Oh man.
Well, it turned so fast. It was like
Wait.
this.
Why was the door open?
Because
he was looking at it.
I was looking at it. I
Yeah,
stopped.
standing outside the car.
Oh, you stopped and got out of the
Yeah,
car
I
to
stopped
look
and got
at
out
it.
of it because I wanted to be really stupid.
Yeah. Wow.
You can't, there's the everyday stupid, and then
Yeah.
there's.
And then there's
What?
get out of the
Then
car to
there's
go look at
Kansas
it.
stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can say that because I don't live in Kansas. So.
Oh, well, maybe if you did, you wouldn't be stoned to death. tomorrow.
Well, true. I can't drive through there now.
Right?
Okay, so we learned a lesson.
Okay. So
We
then
did.
because of time constraints, we have to move forward in the action.
We do?
Right?
Oh.
So now we need you to tell us the story about where the Surfacer Orbiter originated.
Surfacer.
The
Surface Orbiter.
Well,
Surface-
first of all, we have to, no, just tell that story first, then we'll describe what the Surface Orbiter is. 'Cause
Okay.
not everyone's going to know what this thing
When
is.
I had the 2 cars, and I got invitations from Australia and
Right.
from Sweden and Germany and stuff. They wanted the cars out there and stuff. And I just got thinking, I got to build a car that I can drive, to these countries, land and water. Just do it.
Normal thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yep, that's common.
Yes. Yes.
So
And-
you decided to build a amphibious vehicle.
I decided to build an amphibious vehicle, and the starting point was a 1959 Heil milk tanker trailer.
Yeah.
And it was 32 feet long.
Stainless
And-
steel.
Stainless steel. And I figured if it keeps 30,000 gallons of milk inside. It'll keep the water outside.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But before we get to that, you need to tell the story about how the money came about to buy the milk tank and get the project started.
Oh.
This is a good story.
Yes, I went to
Went to Australia.
went to Australia. And on one of the excursions, this guy was telling us, he says, there's a bunch of, you like kangaroos? I said, oh, they're so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, there's a beach where there's tons and tons of wild ones out there. And you just go right up to them and you feed them stuff, whatever. So
Wait. We're going out to pet kangaroos now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on a follow the bouncing ball. So here we are on the beach of Australia, and we're going to go pet some kangaroos.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Okay. Here I am with
the
you.
The car was sent over
Wondering
there.
why I'm with you right now.
I don't know. It was brought over there by a guy named Chick Henry who started an event called the Super Nats.
Yeah.
And
They have it in like
and
January.
The car was
summer.
brought over there. And
Right.
when we were at the airport, they realized it wouldn't fit into the lower cargo hold, and they you get it by cubic feet.
Right.
So it would hit. It was about 3 inches, so they had to move it to the upper instead of 6 feet high.
Should
it
have
was
taken the
21
valve
feet
springs
high.
out. See?
Yeah, right. Right.
Coulda.
Right. That's
Right
true.
in there
That's,
with
that's, I would have saved him like $21,000.
God dang it.
Do not let him hear
Back
that.
to the kangaroo
Just
now.
let the air
Okay,
out
so
of the tires.
I'm on the beach with this kangaroo, and I got a bag of cookies, and I'm coming up, and this kangaroo they're both eating. I'm feeding this one, and I'm feeding this one, and then this one guy sticks his head in the bag, and the other one jumps at him and swings a punch, and the kangaroo goes like this, and hit me right here, and I went over sideways and spilled everything and everything.
You got sucker punched by a kangaroo.
And I do it again. We
Hey,
won 10.
you're a proud man. That's all right. That's all right.
And then it was
Videotaped, and we won $10,000 on a video show.
in the America's Funniest Home Videos.
Nope, it was the Fox version.
Oh, the Fox
same,
version?
Same
Okay.
as
All right. Okay.
America's Family
Okay.
Videos. Or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah, the money's the same.
But yes, it spent the same, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that was the impetus for the Surface Orbiter.
yeah,
So go.
I think so. I'll look that word up and then I'll tell
Again,
you.
no, I'm gonna.
Trust me, it's a good
I'm
word.
gonna make sure I got this right. We went to Australia. We went on a beach.
Got
We
punched
tried
out.
to pet some kangaroos. One gave you a sharp left hook, dropped your ass. Somebody filmed it. A lot of people thought it's funny. Got a big check. I'm gonna take a milk tank and go around the world in it.
Yup.
Right. Okay. Right. Check. Check.
Oh, I got
please.
No more calls, please. We have a winner.
I got another.
I'm-
I got a quick orbiter story.
Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
There are hundreds of them.
Okay,
Are you
but when
kidding me?
when I built the thing, and I was up in this was built in a 14 by 40 garage, and this thing was 32
That's
by 8.
okay. Well,
This is a couple
Not a-
years, but I got
room impaired.
I wanted to put a window in the bottom of it so I could put a Lexan window so I could look out and see if the front drive shaft was stopped or not when we launched.
But you could also be Captain Nemo at the same time.
That's what.
Yeah, you can see when
you know
the
who called
sharks
me,
are coming.
Brock Yates called it Captain Nemo's Corvette.
Captain Nemo's Corvette.
But anyway, so I cut this
Wow.
12 by 16 hole in there, and then I thought, this would make a great escape hatch if you were flipped upside down. And
there's
you
sharks
couldn't-
everywhere
Well, no, I mean, not
Maybe the
not
Kraken,
necessarily in the
which
water,
is-
but anything. So, well, I guess it would have to be in the water. So I dropped my legs down in there, and then I got up to my waist, and it was kind of getting. So I thought this isn't going to work. So I thought, oh shit, I am caught. So I'm reaching down in the corners of this thing, and I'm undoing my belt, and I'm dropping my pants. I'm sliding them down. I'm trying to get
kids.
out. So wait a minute.
Wait a minute, it gets better.
So I'm dropping
Those
my
cameras
pants
are
down.
working. I know Matt didn't know that, but they are.
So, yeah. So my legs are out there. And, I got my underwear on.
Thanks.
So I'm going
Well,
out, and I'm
thanks.
still doing this, and then the door opens up, and the UPS guys.
Yay.
And he sees these two legs hanging out, and he said, "Did I come at a bad time?"
You know what? I wish at that moment right there you explained the backstory all the way to the kangaroo. Well, see what happened was, and that's why I'm here with no pants on.
That's right. You're right. No, I knew. Somebody I knew.
So this had a diesel motor in it, right?
It had a 6.2.
6.2 GMC diesel?
Yep, with
Yeah. with a prop shaft.
Yeah, but it was a marinized engine.
Okay.
Through Peninsular.
Okay.
Boat engines.
And then
my
because
God.
you and I talked about this, it would not capsize because of the lower center of gravity.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, right?
No, it wouldn't. And plus, when we'd go into
You get a big enough wave, anything will capsize.
well, yeah, but the thing of it is, a lot of it's got. We had all that frame, which we call drag, underneath, and there wasn't enough curvature on the top that if a wave came, it wouldn't have anything to grab onto
just go to the
enough
top. Yeah.
to take all this and bring it around until it just wouldn't. But when we were approaching Puerto Rico in some heavy waves.
Approaching?
It was in Bay of Mexico. Yeah.
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 We were
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Do you just like pull
heading
up onto a shore somewhere?
Yeah, you do.
Hey,
Oh,
hi.
Yeah, and people
Oh, that's
loved
awesome.
Well, you have to tell that story. So finish this one and then tell that.
Oh,
so
my
I did.
God.
I did.
Oh, this gets better.
So
How?
going along, and the prop shaft U-joint broke, so I'm dead in the water, and I'm looking down there, and it's like, it's one of those things. I know when I grease them, well, I totally forgot this one was there, and I never greased it, and it crunched. So we call the Coast Guard, and they have nobody in this thing, but the law of the sea that if a boat's coming by, so we get this like 600-foot freighter called the Cascamillas. They go, we'll
Tow ya?
pick him up. So they pull up alongside. In fact, they took my side rearview mirror off, so I got this mirror in my office that I get taken off by a freighter, which is
Taken up by a freighter.
I can only imagine the captain of the freighter going, look at this nut job out here in the water in a milk tank.
pretty much. But they hooked up two straps to one side on each one side of each.
Yeah, well,
I mean
we
on
get it.
each side
Yes.
of the bumper.
Yeah.
And then the extra line they wrapped on a cleat on the right side of the vehicle over the hatch. So they're starting to pull us, and it's like water skiing with this thing. And all of a sudden the front two cables snap. So now it's pulling it from the side, so it rolls the thing on its side, and it's sideways.
And it's
like,
diving it in.
it's twisting it, and it only happened for like 10 seconds. Then the cleat pulled out, and the thing was gone. But then these guys had to turn around.
I was going to say, then the boat just left.
No. Yeah.
We tried.
Yeah. Sorry. Have a nice life. No, it took them like a half an hour. They made a U-turn.
Oh, yeah.
They
Oh,
get
he
all
must
the way
have
around.
loved you.
Oh, they did.
The turning circle. Right
Hard to port.
But these guys.
Hard to port.
Yeah, right. But the guys they didn't mind it. I don't think.
It was an adventure.
Oh.
Probably had something to do.
Yeah,
right?
so they
Otherwise,
jumped
it's
in and
boring.
got it right in the center in a nice cleat, and they pulled us in. And that night, our bicycles got stolen off the roof. We had, stuff like that. But
There's bicycles on the roof of the milk tank.
that's right. Well, these guys. Then I went over to where they were docked.
In
and we
the
had these-
ocean?
Yeah. Huh?
No, he's in port. He's in port. Now.
No, I'm saying if he's out in the ocean.
Yeah.
And he's got bikes on the back.
We got to get around. When we
You gotta get around. You're in
then
the ocean. What
Then
do you
we
mean you
found
gotta-
out. Then we found out that the DEA and the Coast Guard and stuff had made when we left. God, I can't think of what it was. Whatever the island was before to go there, they'd made a little practice, thing there to see if they could follow us.
Okay. On radar.
On radar, and they actually had stuff where they could see there were two people in one engine in the thing for the heat stuff. But we got into Puerto Rico and skipped by them. And they go, okay, you got to tell us. These guys look like Crockett tubs, from the Miami base.
Right. Yeah,
They come in there and they come out and they want us to show us your route because we lost you somewhere in here and all this kind of stuff. And they turned out to be friends, and we went to dinner with them and all that. But then the thing got put into their impound lot because that's where it was stored, and everybody figured we were drug dealers. So.
Oh, okay.
I got another one of that.
Well, you told me a story because it also went through the
Panama Canal.
But
Yep.
before that,
Oh, my God.
you came
Through
on
the
beach
locks?
in. Oh yeah, but let's wait.
Oh,
Came
You
up-
told me onto the beach in Nicaragua.
Okay. You tell me.
You were arrested.
No.
No. Okay.
Almost.
arrested. Okay.
No, well, that's these guys probably. 'cause
Oh, okay.
They thought
All
we
right.
were. They
Okay.
thought we were drug
Okay.
dealers, and
Okay.
then it calmed down. The guy says you can strap your vehicle up here, on this dock. He said, but the waves come in pretty heavy in another couple hours, and we didn't really pay much. Okay, yeah, thanks. The waves are so hard that they dismounted the 3 spare tires on the one side.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
so then you went through the Panama Canal with it.
Went through the Panama
you showed
Canal.
me photos of that.
Yep.
That's
Went
crazy.
through there.
Imagine.
Well, it was
Because it's more of a
I'm having a hard
submarine,
time
but it's
imagining
just-
it.
Oh yeah, I got a good one for you.
Crazy.
Okay. All right.
So when I had the J2000 out there and stuff, this is orbiter stuff. People which still bugs me to this day. People come up and go, "Is that a race car or just a show car?" And I'd say, and it was it's probably saying, "Is it a race car or just a show car?" But I heard, "Is it you race it or is it just a show car?" So I thought, with the orbiter, you're not going to be able to say that because I can go on land and water and everywhere. I can go anywhere.
I can go anywhere.
So I get to the Panama Canal, and we're pulling in, and a nuke sub rises out. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, we're going in
And
the
you're
lane.
making friends everywhere.
It comes up, and then from the side, though, these 2 inflatables come up with guys with these machine guns on the front because they're the
SEALs.
escort. They're the escort
Okay.
for the sub because the
Okay.
sub is very vulnerable when it's out of the water.
Sure.
So these guys look over and they see us, and a guy comes up and he comes right up and he goes, "Is that a submarine or just a boat?" I thought, holy crap, you got to be kidding me.
You've got to be. Who paid you?
Yeah, right.
Who's up to this?
So,
Just a boat.
Do you know Matt?
yeah, that was one of the times. And then,
Did he actually say that?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh,
that
that's
was,
awesome.
trust me.
What do I have to do
Right.
to keep
yeah,
you
right.
people from the word just?
If I wrote a book, it was going to be called Just.
Just.
Just the
But,
truth.
okay, so I'm sorry, you had something.
I was just, and then, but the original plan, as I recall it, was because correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Was to circumnavigate the globe with this rascal.
Right. So
Yeah.
we went down to Caribbean islands, which people were really great. I mean, just everywhere we went, everybody welcomed us. We got this.
Sure.
And,
That's because you're aliens from space and you're there to take over their planet.
we figured we'd try it and say, because people would really gather around it. We'd stop at a hotel and say, "We'll park it outside if you give us a room," and they'd say, "Okay."
Yeah. Well,
And then-
of course.
Out of
Then we
fear.
Yeah, right. Then when we get
I know how this is really working.
Oh yeah, it's.
Don't kill us.
We
Have
were
a
in
room.
Venezuela. We landed in Venezuela, which was we were there for a long time because we had the paperwork of being a boat, and we had no paperwork of going out on land. We were going to take the.
Okay.
But this
Wow.
no
No, really, wow.
no
You need to pretend you're not you and just be a human like me going, "Oh, I took this milk tank and floated it down to Venezuela." And then a submarine
into a
showed
car.
up and wow. Either
you've done
Lots
that.
of
How many
smoke.
times have you done it? A couple, right?
None, actually.
Oh, good. Come on,
I'm
come
going to
on.
go with a big. I mean, everyone does that out of high school, don't they? Before they go to college, they just. No, Rick. None of us do that. And I hate to. Wow. You know what I need? I need just one of. I pulled up the shore.
Oh yeah,
Did you pull up the shore and just roll it, put it in gear, and
Oh,
just
sure.
start driving up?
A
Oh
few
my
times,
God.
but in
I so want to see video of that.
Yeah.
Dominican Republic, they
Lots of friendly people. Yeah.
they were. This world has changed. If I'd gone out today, I'd be dead.
Oh, okay.
They're
Oh,
American.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
to fix for you. I shouldn't use that accent, right?
It was good. That
Oh,
was
good.
very good.
Thank
Sorry,
you very much.
no one hates here. We're all good.
I bought in.
I just need to hear the people's response when they see your thing pull up out of nowhere, out of the water.
Something
and then you
that
pop out with no pants or whatever you're
Right,
doing.
right.
And you just,
In the
hi,
in the
hi.
This happens every day.
We're all good. I got bicycles and everything. We're
Not
eco-friendly, and
It had been stolen by that time.
yeah right in the
the
Dominican
bicycles
Republic.
didn't rust up like a son of a bitch from the salt water.
No, that's not the stainless. It's all stainless.
The bicycles.
Bicycles were all stainless.
Oh no, the bikes.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about
well,
the
they
bicycles.
got stolen, so I don't care.
Yeah, immaterial. They were gone. So yeah.
Went to came in and these guys got the whole town out there to help us. We got stuck in the mud like a giant tug of war, and they pulled it out, and it was
Really?
covered with
It's
seaweed
like Jules
and mud.
Verne. It's
Oh,
like
boy.
Well, yeah.
You need this on camera. Oh
Brock
my
Yates
God.
called it Captain Nemo's Corvette.
Yes, Captain. I like that.
Yeah, I
So
did
did you
too.
see any, wildlife out in the water, where there's like giant sharks
Just
and
me.
whales?
But
was
when we
enough.
went to the capital of Dominican Republic, and they said, and the guy says, I remember this. He said, "Give me our passports," and we thought, "Oh man!"
Yeah.
And he gets the passport stuff. He does all the work, and he says, "Follow this guy." And so we went down
You're
this
gonna go
alley
into a small
and all this
prison
kind of
where you'll
stuff,
never
and we're
be seen
thinking,
again.
what the hell?
Yeah, yeah.
He was nice. And so he takes us out on this back road, and he says, "Hey, we had some problems back there. We wanted to just get you out of here."
Okay.
Next day in the newspaper, there's pictures with all these people there, and it says that, it was in Spanish. I had this guy says, I remember this guy owned an American pizzeria. He goes, "It's time to get out of Dodge." And I said, "Why?" He says, "These people are all there protesting an American attack sub doing maneuvers in their waters."
Which was you.
Which is us.
Yeah. Wow.
And
That's the story I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that. Right.
That's
the
the
arrested.
story.
We weren't arrested. We were
Just detained.
persuaded to go in. Oh, they were detained.
Detained.
So I'm going to build
Yeah.
a Pro Street Amphibious
Yeah.
milk tanker next.
Okay, and I'll be there to watch.
You can
So
watch
what happened to the Surface
What happened to
Orbiter?
it?
I sold it to a guy in somebody that Matt Hay had dealt with. His name was Chuck, and he offered me a
Does Chuck run guns in Nicaragua, or what,
Nicaragua.
what's
tell ya.
Chuck doing with it?
the scariest
last we
moment.
saw, Al Qaeda has it. And he's
The scariest moment, these these tugboats that are ocean going, the big ones that bring in the freighters and these massive things going through the canal.
Yeah.
We're approaching the canal, and all of a sudden one of these tugs comes around, and he turns around, and he's coming straight at us. And you're trying on the radio, and you can't, do you go right? Do you go left? What they tell you to do is wait till they're close, and then shut, because if you
Then
just start
scream.
going this way and they start turning a little bit, they're still tracking you.
Right.
Man, I tell you, for like a minute, I thought we were going to get rammed by that thing, and that
Wow.
would have been it.
Because
Done.
you didn't show much of a profile.
No,
in
we
the
didn't show
front. It
anything.
was
That's
like
why they
probably nothing.
figured we were a Colombian semi-submersible. Oh, so this is the semi-submersible.
Yeah, yeah.
Then this woman, one of the hotels we were at, this woman, they knocked on the door of the family, and they said, "We'd like to take you to dinner," and all this. They saw the orbiter out there, and we went to dinner in this nice little area, and I remember her taking a straw and sticking it in a Coke can, and then sticking it up her nose. And she says, "This is the way you Americans think we drink Coke." Right? And I said, she was really nice, and I said, "Yeah, kind of, yeah."
Yeah, so, well, okay.
I was waiting for you to say they're going to ask you to run some guns for them.
yeah.
I said,
No, right. Another thing this happened in many towns. We're going down the road, and all of a sudden there's speed bumps, and like 100 yards up there's a suspension and spring shop, and they'd set these things up, and we ripped both of the shock absorbers right out of the frame.
Wow.
We're bottoming them out.
Yes. Wow. And
gonna work on it.
conveniently, the repair shop was right there.
No, I fixed it myself. But yeah, it was a real adventure. We took it to Coors, Silver Bullet,
Yep. Yep.
and I can't really see that. What do you
they
mean?
were concerned, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. It was a great expence.
And how fast would it go on the highway?
It goes 70 on the highway.
70?
But then we found out I'll tell you, here's the other thing we did. It was really stupid.
Oh, that's all.
Only one.
That's right.
This
Well,
the only stupid thing we did.
No.
All right.
But this is stupid.
No,
This is
stupider?
If you were, right, stupider. If you saw something stupid, you go, "Yeah, that's stupider."
I'm getting there.
Yeah. Well, we had problems with the wheels in the salt water being eaten up by corrosion, so
Right.
they'd get these little pinhole leaks.
Right.
And so we
The
get
rubber?
a flat. Yeah. No.
No, the wheels.
The wheel
aluminum
itself.
wheels.
Oh,
So we'd pull, we'd start. You could feel it. It was just wasn't pulling right. So we had 6 spares. We had to get way up and get the spare down and put it on.
in the water?
No,
No.
This is on land.
On land.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not climbing in the water.
So
Not happening.
my ex's parents came down to Panama with us with 12 inner tubes, and we were going to set up the tires with inner tubes. We were
Okay.
telling them all the trouble. He said, "Well, why don't we fix it this way?" And we thought, "That's so great."
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the tubes disguise the fact that the cracks are still going.
Oh.
We're going down the road at 40 miles an hour, and all of a sudden the wheel breaks in half.
Disintegrates.
Yikes.
I mean, it just does. And it would go down into this, off the side of the road, through a fence, and into this field, like a farmer's field. Mm-hmm. And I swear it wasn't more than 2 minutes, there were like 5 Mexican guys there with floor jacks, and they jacked it up, and they did all this stuff. And,
really?
And I gave them, hardly
$6.
anything. They're like, thank you very much, and all this stuff. And then we saw their cars at a bar, so we pulled in and bought them another round.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, then in Charleston, West Virginia, no, Charleston.
North Carolina?
North Carolina, thank you. Sorry, Charleston.
It's okay. It's all somewhere here in America.
We had a telephone pole. We blew the left front out.
Hit a telephone pole.
Hit a telephone pole. I got photos I can send you on that. The fire department came there with those bags that lifted up and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't do much to the orbiter, but it snapped the pole right in half.
Wow.
And they did put another new pole in, and about 2 days later, a guy hit it. But it didn't break for this guy. But
how heavy was this thing?
18,000 pounds.
18,000 pounds.
And the tires were right at the kind of 3,200 tire. Yeah, it'll work. But the tires didn't give us as much trouble as the wheels, but we didn't know that until we found out the hard way.
Yeah. So it'd been better if they'd been steel rather than
right. And then we got charged $3,000 some for the pole.
For the pole.
And we called the judge because there was going to be a hearing about it, and we called the judge. And he
Not
goes,
a lynching.
Yeah, right. Well, this guy, I couldn't believe it. He goes, well, I don't want you, when you hear Charleston, I don't want you to think about having to pay for that thing. So let's just don't worry about it.
Okay.
And I thought, seriously?
Yeah.
Or are they going to say, I saw you trying to get away. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I saw you trying to get away. Wow.
I thought the first one was better.
Well, thanks.
Better. Yeah.
No, I shouldn't do that.
Too many stories.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have children?
No. Well, we did, but we ate them on the trip.
Okay. and I believe you, sir.
Okay.
So, no, I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
I have a daughter.
Okay. I'm not hungry. Don't worry.
Relieving. So you during this trip, at least, you were married,
Yes.
and you said the parents came down to lend a hand in one of the foreign countries, right?
Yeah,
You
Her
came down-
parents, yes.
In
Okay.
Panama? Is that where we
So,
were? Yeah.
so being a dad, I know that your wife is that man's daughter.
Right.
Did he say anything to you about the vehicle and what you're doing?
Or the efficacy of this whole thing, right?
I want to know as a dad, did he go, okay, I understand the kangaroo in the video part.
Yep.
And I know you like to tinker with cars. What are you doing again? And you're taking her? Was that ever said? In all seriousness.
Maybe he didn't like her either. I mean, wow. That's I don't mean the either thing.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what, everyone?
At that time, that was like, yeah.
We pride ourselves on good family entertainment.
No.
And, well,
Anyway.
you heard him.
I knew this was going to deteriorate.
The minute you told me about this, I'm like, the dad's not questioning. What the hell are you doing with my daughter?
I would have had questions. It would have been my daughter.
What are you doing? Oh, we're going to go down to Nicaragua, see, in that. And,
If it looks like a submarine.
Yeah, I mean-
it'll be fine. Don't worry.
I swear to God, I can hear, it's cool. It's got bicycles, and
Yeah, right.
we're great.
And it won't capsize.
I'm not sure
what
what you're
possibly
upset-
could go
what
wrong.
Look, it doesn't
Right.
tip over. It's good, Dad. Okay. Well,
So the guy that has it now, does he still take it out?
No.
does he have a daughter? Are there kids involved there?
I don't know. He's a nice guy that likes to collect stuff. He's got
Yeah?
a bunch of weird stuff. Even
Yeah.
has, I believe, a steam-powered Indy car or something.
A
Yeah.
steam-powered Indy car?
By Lear, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I mean, so this
How's that
thing
gonna
was not
last
as
a
big
long
as that. But the Lear thing, we took it out when he went around to see how it floated, and it's still down there. But, so it was interesting. What happened on the road in the States, every 2 or 3 minutes, people would come by, and they had the little brownie cameras, and they'd click, and you could see the flash going off on the inside of the thing.
Inside the glass,
click. And then they'd take off, and they'd go up at the 70, 80 miles an hour, and 3 minutes later, you'd see them all outside the car, and they're taking pictures as we drove by, and then there'd be another person and another, and it was all the way.
Rick Dobbertin, I'll make this statement. Rick Dobbertin, in a different time and different era, would have been crushing and would have been the most incredible TikToker ever. I'm on top of the orbiter. And
In the Caribbean.
In the Gulf of Mexico.
we've been accused.
Hanging out with the sharks.
We're being accused of starting a revelation and invading a country. And,
Yeah, that was scary. Today,
I'm
that would
sure
have been.
I'm sure that was
today
scary.
you just would
Today
have
it would.
disappeared.
Well, you know, the actual people that were concerned. I mean, they're dirt poor, and they were very nice. We broke an axle. The axle bearings went on the left rear in Mexico, and we were in a motel for about 2 weeks before somebody could ship an axle down from the States.
Wow.
And there was a pool there on the hotel, and there up the road there was all these people selling baskets of mangoes and stuff like that. And I remember going up to this lady, and I was trying to ask her how much these were, you know, and it was 10 pesos or something. So I give her the 10 pesos, and I take one. She goes, no.
The whole
basket.
And I said, oh. She's handing these things to me. And I said, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
So then we'd go back there the next day. We kind of settled. And I'd go back the next day, and I'd go to pick something up, and I'd go, no money. So I gave her a big tip when we left. She was, I mean, it's just these poor, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And they were very kind. I didn't run into a single
So you were not the ugly American. You were the good American.
I was the good American.
Yes.
Yes, I was.
So glad you're representing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's all fine. We're good.
It was a trip, literally.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy. That's crazy.
We could do another hour on this, I'm sure, without question.
That's just
right?
insane.
Because that's not even a tenth of the stories you've got.
No, we had another real quick one. These fishermen, they couldn't go out there. There was a high wave warning, so these fishermen had nothing to do, and we were all around. The guy says, you need to have a point on the front of that. And I thought, well, okay, but hey, there's a boat. We call it the SS Minnow that's been washed up on shore. So they got this. We went out there with
aluminum nose.
No, this is fiberglass, and we just took. Oh no, this thing looked like something the Beverly Hillbillies built, and it just took the nose off, and then had this big bar coming back on the keel, and bolted it all up. We put a big visor made out of junk, and in the middle of, we were in like 30,000 feet of water, and the bolts broke off of this thing, and it swung down under the orbiter.
Oh, no.
Now it's a
big
giant
anchor. Yeah.
We couldn't move forward.
Oh no.
So I had to snorkel underneath there. Snorkel underneath there. Let me tell you, if you look down in that water, it's dark blue.
Yeah,
And all you can see is that cover of Jaws. Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'd be telling someone's daughter, this is where we're dying.
Right.
Right here,
Well,
this
how we
is
die,
where it all
Yeah.
ends.
And,
So how'd you get it off?
I had to go under with bolt, take a deep breath, go out, get a couple of minutes. They're stainless, so they're starting to gall a little bit.
Of course.
You get them
because
out,
we're in
and then I
salt
let
water.
it go, and by then there were 100 or more little fish from this size to about this, all looking. They're looking, what you doing? What you doing? Yeah. And then the thing broke off, and it starts going down, and these guys, we watched it, and I watched them disappear into view, and they were all still around the thing.
Really?
I mean, I'm sure they let go eventually, or quit doing it, but and it was just funny stuff.
Wow.
The sharks will be here soon. Real soon, anytime now.
One more quick one.
Okay, one more story.
Okay, this guy in St. Thomas or something wanted to help us out. His name was Steve. He was kind of living out. He was kind of a beach bum, but he was a nice guy.
Long
And,
hair.
yep.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Kind of iffy.
so he's he's trying to get. He knows this guy with a restaurant, and we'll put on a benefit for you guys and raise money and all that stuff, and it's cool. And he's trying to. We got flyers and we're handing them out, and he knows this guy. We're in his car, and he goes, "Oh, hey, there's Bob, that cop. I know him."
Yeah.
And he pulls over, and the cop's got a guy on the hood, with his arms spread, his legs spread.
Am I in a bad time?
No. But he comes up there and he goes, "Hey, Bill, can you take one?" He goes, "No, Can you see him doing this?" So he goes to the guy. He raises his hand. He sticks the flyer out. That was so funny. That was funny. And then
Truth is stranger than fiction. What the heck?
when we pulled in there, before we met him officially, we went into a marina with the orbiter, and we're pulling into the dock or to the slip.
Yeah.
And this guy Steve, that's where we met him. He goes, "Hit the bow thruster." So I went, the thing went right over, and he goes,
blew his head. Yeah.
"Bow thrusters." That was funny. It paid for the cost of that thing just to watch his face.
On that note,
Yeah.
like I said, we can do it. We can do another hour. Another hour.
Easy.
So we want to thank our friends at arp-bolts.com for helping us out with this whole thing. We're having a great time. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Great stories.
It's like
great
Uncle
stories.
Rick.
Rick
Uncle
Dobbertin.
Rick.
Dobbertin, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
So
right.
anyway, Steve. Yep. So if you like the stories we keep telling you, hang in there. We'll tell you some more.